Good afternoon and welcome. It is January the 26th, 4:30 p.m. Pacific time, and the price of Bitcoin is 32,461 as we speak. So I wanted to give an update to my copiers and followers on eToro, anyone in general with an interest in Bitcoin. So I'll definitely be taking questions, whatever you have. I'd love to discuss it. I love talking Bitcoin. It's my passion. So happy to discuss all of it. The FOD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, as FOD stands for, and anything else, any worries or questions you have regarding Bitcoin, I will do my very best to answer those. First off, I want to talk a little bit about the short-term, medium-term, and long-term expectations for my expectations for the price of Bitcoin. I always say, and I write that on in the short term, nobody knows anything for certain. Not that we necessarily know things very much for certain, medium and long term, but I think medium and long term are a lot easier to predict in terms of where we're going price-wise. But short-term also always is very difficult. But the feeling I have now, and I'm talking to some of my friends, Bitcoin buddies, Poppy, for instance, that I spoke to today, that I do the Toxic Happy Hour with, which you also find on this channel, that we both remember clearly how Bitcoin was around 9 to 9,500 after the halving. It was just steady. It was flat there for about 2 months, and everyone was bored of the price. Nothing much was happening, and we all wanted to go higher. And it seemed we had to work our way through a sell wall of people who were willing to sell the Bitcoin for around this price. So once we broke through that, we quite quickly moved higher. And we came fairly quickly, shot up to like 15, 16, 19,500, went up and touched the old all-time high from December 2017, from the last Bitcoin halving price cycle bull run top, FOMO blow-off top, as I call it, fear of missing out blow-off top. And then as we came to that old top, again, a lot of people had a willingness to depart with a Bitcoin if only they got that old all-time high price, probably because they were around in 2017 and didn't manage to sell their Bitcoin at the top. So we had to work our way through this sell wall. Usually, you hit it like 19 and a half. There were some corrections down. There were some drawdowns. We went down to 16,100, and then again up to around 18 and a half, 19, and then eventually we broke through it. And then again, as we broke through the 19,000, 20,000, we went quite quickly, actually, all the way up to 42,000, at which once again we have drawdowns. We've been all the way down to, I believe it was 28,900. That was the bottom. So finally we got this a bit more than 30% correction that I have been warning would happen sooner or later, just a matter of time. And even though I could see that it was 8 months and still we didn't have a 30% drawdown, so I started to think, all right, maybe we won't have these 30% corrections this time around. Maybe this time around is different. But sure enough, this time around was not different. We got that 30% plus drawdown. So what happens is weak hands, as we call it, they sell, they get scared. They saw the price of 42. They see it come down to 35, 33, 32, 29. They get nervous and they sell because they didn't study what Bitcoin is. They didn't study money. And I really recommend first looking into what look into what money is. And once you understand what money is, you better also understand Bitcoin, why Bitcoin is money, why Bitcoin is the superior money, and why Bitcoin will take over as money of the world. But so to me, this is similar to when we traded sideways at 9,500 for 2 months, and again traded sideways for, I think it was some weeks at 19,000 plus minus. And here we are again. We put a new all-time high at 42, and we came down, and now we're trading around the 32, 30, 33 range. So look, what is happening now is because the fast price rise in Bitcoin always draw in new people. We call it NGU technology, number go up technology, which is built into Bitcoin. This is built in basically because of the scarcity that the price rises, and that draws in people. It also draws in people that have no clue what Bitcoin is, have no clue what money is, and don't know that sure, Bitcoin fell from 42 to 32, even a bit more. But because it is the best money the world has ever seen, the short term doesn't matter. We are here for a revolution of money. We are here to take money away from government and central banks that abuse the power to dilute the value of your savings by printing more. And then they claim it's good because we get a little bit. So about 5% of what is printed is bailing out people, while 95% of what is printed is given to company owners, basically. Companies, etc. And by the way, it doesn't help employees when the companies are bailed out. What happens is you're bailing out the people that own the companies, because if they go bankrupt, someone else come in and take over those distressed assets, continue the same operations, but without being in that situation of over leveraged, so that they could fail. But central bank bail out basically company owners and not the employees. They would have their job still anyway. So here we are, and I believe that this is another time we're trading sideways, and the really short term is extremely hard. But if I should give any guesstimate, I would absolutely say that I would be very surprised if we don't go above $50,000 per Bitcoin, either in February and March. There's, none of what I say here is trading advice. It's not financial advice. It's just my personal opinion, and I have my money where my mouth is. And so far, that has been going really well, to be honest. So don't worry about the short term. I have people contacting me. They are nervous after Bitcoin went up double-digit percent alone in October, double-digit percent again alone in November, double-digit percent again alone in December, and we're still up from 1st of January. And you have an asset here that has exploded, pretty much gone up 200% from around this 11,500 to 32,000, and you are worried. Come on, zoom out on the bigger picture. And you will be less worried, highly likely. And also do yourself a favor and educate yourself. Seek several knowledge, sources of information, of knowledge. Educate yourself, and make your own decisions. That's always important. If you just follow advice from others, on average, you'll end up getting a return like S&P 500. And honestly, that is boring. That is not a great performance. If you want to store value, your savings, S&P is pretty, you need to do analysis and find assets that can outperform something that is just general company performance, because there'll be lots of companies in S&P 500 and Dow Jones that won't perform well. You need to outperform that. If you cannot outperform that, you need to educate yourself more. So before I can see there's a couple of questions there. Before I go into that, I just want to share this graph with you guys, which is created by Plan B, the Dutch a quant mathematician that looks at the relationship between Bitcoin's stock to flow, which essentially is its a kind of a way of looking at what is Bitcoin's inflation rate. it is opposite. So an inflation rate of 1% is a stock to flow of 100. Nevertheless, this graph has nothing to do with the stock to flow. It is simply an illustration of how Bitcoin's price has developed after the halvings. Now, the price of everything is decided by supply and demand. That is absolutely economics 101, that supply and demand determines price. And what happens in the halving is that supply is reduced to half of what it was before the halving. Basically, the fresh supply of Bitcoin is the mining reward that the miners get for securing the network against hacks, and is the very reason that it is the safest, I think, in my personal opinion, not advice. It's the safest, the safest IT network out there against hacks. That's the way that the whole infrastructure, the blockchain, and the mining reward incentive has been built. So what happens at the halving is that this mining reward is cut in half, and that's the reason we can end up having zero mining reward 120 years from now, when we reach the 21 million Bitcoin to be in circulation. Already we're almost at 19 million. So because it keeps dropping, it actually gets, we have by far the most in circulation now. But want to have a look at this graph again. So the dark blue graph is the price after the very first halving, where we saw quite aggressive rise in price of Bitcoin. It went up by almost 2 orders of a magnitude. And 1 order of magnitude is 10x. And then the light blue is the last halving initiated bull run, which started in summer of 2016, carried into 2017, December. So what you see at the bottom of the graph is the months after the halving. So each number there is 1 month after the halving, 2 months after, etc. And on the y-axis on the left side, what we have is with the current price, which is the red graph, or the red line, how the price is developing after the halving. We had the 11th of May last year. As it progresses, on the left, you can see what is the price of Bitcoin now. And so before I just go back to the graph, the whole premise here is that there is a clear pattern, which is what I'm trading on eToro. There is a clear pattern between that when this supply is cut in half, the price starts moving up. First, it moves up slowly. And when it starts moving up slowly, it confirms to people that the direction is up. As CNBC, Squawk Box, and other media start picking up that the price of Bitcoin is moving up slowly, it starts moving up faster. The curve gets steeper, which draws in more people to Bitcoin. This is the number go up technology, as we describe it on Bitcoin Twitter, especially. And as that draws in more people, the curve gets even steeper. Remember, the supply already has been cut in half, and it just keeps rising faster and faster, until in the end we have this blow off top, which happened the first time after 1 year, and the second time after 1.5 years. So the interesting thing here is, of course, the current bull run, how it proceeds. And if it is to fall between these two lines, which does seem like the direction we have right now, that means we hit $100,000 between, sometime in either April or latest September. That is if we continue, obviously, between these two. So there's no guarantee that we are heading to exactly that spot, but that is basically saying that's what we'll hit if we continue to be between those two halving cycles. You can follow Plan B on Twitter, and I personally do that. I have a notification for him on Twitter, so I get a notification every time he makes a new tweet, and and can follow his like graphs like this that he updates, and so forth. So let's start taking a few questions and see how much you guys have. I have at least an hour from started, so at least 45 minutes more I can do if you guys have questions. So thoughts on Janet Yellen being confirmed as Treasury Secretary? Not much. I'm not sure what she's going to make or want to make as legislation or regulation around Bitcoin. But the important thing here is that government cannot stop Bitcoin. In 2012, look, these people in power, they're not stupid. They know that Bitcoin is a threat to centralized government power. It is a threat to being able to, as a government, to create money out of thin air, so they can, initiate programs without asking people's citizens' permission first through tax increase, basically, that you need to get accepted. So if you can just print money centrally from a central bank, which isn't creating new money, it's diluting the value of your savings. So if they double the money supply, they'll basically get half of all monetary value in the country, while your savings are cut in half. Now, many people don't think about that, but that is the problem of central banks. And I recommend reading this book that I keep bringing up, The Price of Tomorrow by Jeff Booth. And we had him on the show back early December, so you can find that on the channel if you want to check that out here and meet Jeff Booth. We have on Toxic Happy Hour, as we call our show, me and my co-host Poppy. We just basically have a good time. We drink a couple of beers or some bourbon and have a very informal atmosphere with our guests. So we just hang out and talk Bitcoin and obviously like macroeconomics, things like that. Back to Janet Yellen. So they can't stop Bitcoin. They can regulate it, they can make it hard, but Bitcoin is the only asset ever in the world that you can easily leave your country if you're not happy with the way your Bitcoin is being treated. So that creates a natural sort of barrier for how bad they can treat you and your Bitcoin, because you can just leave and memorize your seed, which is the key to your Bitcoin. You can memorize it and walk through any customs and take all your assets with you, if they're Bitcoin, that is, of course. Now, I'm not telling anyone to do anything illegal. I'm just saying that people can easily escape any country with Bitcoin, and that's one of the many reasons it is a superior asset. It's superior to gold, where people constantly, I think on a monthly basis, someone tries to escape a country with gold, and metal detector catches that, and your gold is taken from you. You get fined, you go to prison, but no one can see what you have in your memory, at least not yet. So I don't really care too much about what Janet Yellen wants to do. In 2012, CIA was commissioned to put down a committee to actually finish Bitcoin, to end Bitcoin. And that's when CIA and the government found out that you can't stop it. It's decentralized. It's the same reason that Napster, if you guys remember that, the ones that have been around as long as me, Napster was killed off because it was centralized. You have one point of failure when everything is run from one point. So Napster could be shut down, and it was by police back in, I believe it was the 90s. As soon as Napster was shut down, I think the guy's name was Bram Cohen. He created BitTorrent, which is a decentralized way of file sharing, and BitTorrent could not be broken down. And Bitcoin is the BitTorrent of file sharing. Bitcoin is decentralized. It is a ledger that is kept running on more than 10,000 nodes globally. And it's not the same as the miners. The miners secure against hacks, and the miners have more computer power than all the governments in the world, and Amazon and Google and Facebook. If they put all their servers together and try to hack Bitcoin, they're like 1% of what they need to have to do anything about Bitcoin. Bitcoin today is pretty much beyond untouchable. There's never any guarantees, but that is in practice what we're seeing. Trust me, if governments could kill it, they would. They don't like the power of money debasing being taken away from them. But Bitcoin, this is where we take a stand. This is where we fight back and take money back to people, to the citizens, to the residents, and take it away from, honestly, in my opinion, evil central bankers that they know exactly what they're doing. Anyways, so I have no concerns about Janet Yellen. I don't really care. So we have here Fructose. You are like a more exotic but worse tone base. Thank you very much for the hate. Haters always motivate me. It is, I'm sorry for your salty tears, mate. Tone base, by the way, is a friend of mine. Anyways, on to the next one. Right, Wade Heger. I understand why you're so bullish on Bitcoin. Many of the reasons you're bullish is also shared with other cryptocurrencies. Why are you not bullish on other cryptocurrencies than Bitcoin? Let me tell you why. So while I just basically, explained that Bitcoin's advantage really, and what makes it untouchable, is the fact that it's decentralized. Every single other cryptocurrency out there call themselves decentralized, yet they are not. Even Ethereum, number 2 cryptocurrency, is centralized and run by the Ethereum Foundation. That, well, at least you could say they have a very large say. And Vitalik Buterin is the man in power there. A couple of years ago, there was a rumor. Somebody started a rumor that Vitalik Buterin died, and the price of Ethereum, I think, dropped 15% in a few hours, which just shows the dependency on a single person. Bitcoin is way beyond that. We haven't heard from Satoshi Nakamoto, the inventor of Bitcoin, for 9 years. So if he's alive or if he's passed away, very few people, including himself, know that. And it will have no effect on Bitcoin because Bitcoin is centralized. Also, apart from all of these, in my opinion, scam coins and scam projects that delay the adoption of global sound money, which is Bitcoin, look, they are all created so they can enrich the founders. Ethereum, for example, they gave 70% of all Ethereum to themselves when they created Ethereum, and then they sold the 30%. And you guys can start trading them, assign value to them. They use buzzwords like world computer, which is a joke. There's no world computer. It's just a ledger that can't properly scale. And they're trying to fix that for years now, and they still haven't fixed it. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot stick. Ethereum is a joke, in my opinion. So that's, again, another reason that it solves. So they have there's a totally skewed financial incentive. Any of these other projects that Bitcoin, remember, there's a financial incentive for them to tell you it's better than it is, because they gave themselves a lot of it. And unfortunately, a lot of people buy into that without doing the research, which, in my opinion, if you do the research, you get to the same conclusion, which is that Bitcoin already won. We're just watching it play out. And sure, Ethereum is pumping right now, but why is it pumping? There was no cutting the Ethereum supply in half. Ethereum supply is actually unknown. You may be able to read it because it's, different websites do different sort of estimations, but nobody can verify the supply. And for something to have monetary value, we absolutely need to know the supply of it. Oxygen is probably the most valuable commodity in the world, because if we don't have it, we'd die in 5 minutes. Yet oxygen doesn't cost anything because there's no lack of supply of oxygen. Ethereum has an unknown supply, and there's no built-in policy that will limit it. For all we know, Ethereum will keep being printed more and more and more. It's just, it's like a blockchain version of dirty fiat, useless currency, in my opinion. So, and also, I would say the final thing about these, what I consider scam coins, is that they don't solve any problems that Bitcoin doesn't already solve. There's and people that usually buy into Ethereum and others, they get caught up in the fact that the price is rising, but there's no fundamental thing in these currencies that solve something that the world needs. They are solutions looking for problems. They're not actual solutions to existing problems. Smart contracts on Ethereum, we have it on Bitcoin as well. It's for instance, you can do a liquid, the liquid side chain to Bitcoin, which is created by Blockstream. It allows for these building, tokens on top of it, which is basically Ethereum's value proposition. It's driven by other scam coins being built on top of Ethereum's ERC20 token. So no, I don't see any value there whatsoever, and I doubt I ever will. All right, Chico says hi. Believes this year is 500,000 plus $500,000 per Bitcoin. Look, it could happen. I'm lately I'm starting to. I think we will see a turn before that. Before we hit 500,000, I actually think that we will have this short-term bear market. We won't have a 12 months bear market like last time. I very much doubt that. I don't think it'll be longer than 6 months, and it won't be as steep as previously. So Bitcoin could hit, for all we know, 350,000 and then crash to 200,000. I don't think at all for 2 seconds it'll ever reach this level again once we've gone through the cycle. All right, what else we got? Yeah, so Phoenix, absolutely. As I said, it's decentralized. It has the hashing power, so therefore it is as secure as they come, really, Bitcoin and more. I absolutely disagree with this, Wade. Many of the nodes and the miners on Ethereum and other projects are basically spun up on Amazon Web Services, and that makes it centralized because Amazon can go in and shut it off. They might be told by government to shut it off. All right, so what we got here from Abdul: some believe that other coins like ETH and ADA are a huge threat to BTC. Is there any plausible reason behind that? Not that I can see. They will say that because they are holding bags full of ETH and ADA and want them to go up in value, and for that reason, they claim they're a threat. I see absolutely zero threat to Bitcoin at this stage. I agree again 100% with I agree with Jeff Booth, who on our interview, this guy is really, really smart. Go back and see the interview from early December, you'll see. And he says that he considers Bitcoin having 100% likelihood or probability of succeeding. All right, let me just read this while I take a sip here, keep the voice going. You guys can read it in the meantime. MPOE 0614. Thanks for joining. You're hanging around on eToro, often comment. Thank you for your support, mate. Appreciate it. Good to discuss Bitcoin with you. So what's holding the current price range? Well, look, supply was cut in half, means supply is lacking. Supply lacking helps support the price. And right now, we went up so fast that we need to work our way through the people that are willing to sell that Bitcoin at these price levels. At the same time, the percentage of Bitcoin in the hand of what we call strong hands, hodlers that are here for lifetime ownership of Bitcoin, that increases. We are seeing more and more companies not only start buying Bitcoin as holding as a way for them to store value on the corporate balance sheet. We are also seeing existing ones increasing. We saw, I think it was 2 days ago, we saw Marathon Patent Group. I believe they're a Bitcoin mining company, but they started allocating their their assets on the balance sheet, $150 million straight from dollars into Bitcoin, because they feel that Bitcoin better can safeguard their value because it cannot be diluted by your central bank. So I hope I explained it there as a first grade, on a first grade level, MPOE. Otherwise, write it again. Yeah. Basically, supply is lacking, and that will push price higher. Companies, people, hodlers buying Bitcoin for the long term keep buying, and in the end, you run out of weak hands that are willing to sell because they're in doubt, and up goes the price. Saya Sasa from usually hanging out on our Toxic Happy Hour shows. Shout out to you. Towers Comics, thank you. Cheers to you, and cheers to everyone out there watching. I hope you guys enjoy yourself. I always enjoy myself when I talk Bitcoin. And there we go. All right. So Christopher Healy, is this? No. So I have about 2% of my crypto portfolio in XRP. I have seen that many BTC people hate XRP and vice versa. With the current SEC suit against Ripple, what do you think for the effect of both BTC and XRP? Well, I think it's positive for Bitcoin when illegal securities, because Ripple, XRP, and other scam coins which have been sold initially by law are illegal securities. I'm not necessarily for at all, all these government regulations. We see way too much of that. I'd like the free market to play a bigger role. Nevertheless, it is, according to law, and you have to realize that the law is there. If you sell your coins for financial gain, and you have not got the SEC approval for that, it is an illegal security. Ethereum is an illegal security by definition, in my opinion. And I'm not saying that some of these scam coins can outperform Bitcoin on the short term, but money is a winner takes all game. I also did a couple of months ago, probably 4 months ago, a very short 8-minute video on Gresham's law. Gresham is an economist for a couple of 100 years ago, lived in UK, who explained why money is a winner takes all game. You always end up with the strongest money as the dominating money. It's always been like that, and it will be so again when Bitcoin push all the garbage out. XRP is nothing but garbage. Explain to me why it has value. There's no reason it should have value. This so-called use case of Ripple coin is to move fiat currency around more efficient, economically and faster than current SWIFT system. Yet it's not being used for that yet. And also, when Bitcoin replaces dirty fiat currency, why would you need another system to move around that? Number one scam coins today in the world are fiat currency, like euro, dollar, yen, rubles, etc. So yeah. I would not want to hold any Ripple. Again, don't take this as financial advice. Hey, it might for some reason outperform over the next X amount of months, but I wouldn't want to take the risk. Look, Bitcoin has from this level currently, in my opinion, about a 500 to 600x potential. I don't need to be greedy and aim to have more than 500 times return on my money, which is what I believe I will have on Bitcoin in this decade. It's not what's going to happen over the next 1 year, 1.5 years. This plays out over probably, I think, this cycle and the next cycle. And as that happens, then that Bitcoin will reach its full potential, which in my opinion is $20 million per Bitcoin, which essentially by that time will be infinity, because fiat currency like dollar will collapse and disappear. And don't think it can happen. World reserve currencies have a lifespan approximately on 100 years. Dollar is not the first world reserve currencies. There's been in Holland, they had it, in the British pound, Portugal, all depending on when they had a power peak in their history, and nothing lasts forever. A dollar is more than 100 years old now, and we're probably seeing the replacement of that real time right now. What a time to be alive. All right, another question here from Arun Saip. If a person has enough money to buy one Bitcoin, but he's also investing in eToro, same amount for copy trading, which one is beneficial and its pros and cons? Having one Bitcoin fully directly is a great idea. I think that's going to be worth financial independence many times. In my opinion, $20 million is a lot of money. And I get this question a lot. What's the difference on that and then copying me? Because I 100% hold Bitcoin in my portfolio on eToro, and funny enough, it's outperformed everything else. It's outperformed all the scam coin portfolios because they may have risen up, and people are clapping their hands because Ethereum is back at all-time highs. But that is measured in dirty fiat dollars. But while Ethereum is back at its all-time high in dollar, it has dropped by from about 0.14 Bitcoin per Ethereum to about, I think, a third of that. So no, overall Ethereum has crashed. So back to the pros and cons. Owning Bitcoin directly, great idea. What you get by copying me when I have 100% exposure to Bitcoin is that I trade this halving cycle that I showed here, and there's no guarantee that this continues, obviously, but I do believe that we will see another peak and one more cycle, at least this one cycle. I believe that we will see. I think we will reach above 300,000. I have honestly no doubt we're going to reach 300,000 latest Q1 next year. It could happen Q3 this year. That is, depends how things unfold. Depends if Apple go out and say that they want to throw their $100 or $200 billion into Bitcoin. That will be an absolute game changer. And if that happens in this cycle, there probably won't be another cycle. It'll probably be straight to the $20 million per Bitcoin. But so what I do on eToro is I trade this cycle. So my aim is to sell maybe 10-20% of the Bitcoin in the portfolio when I deem that we are near the top of this red graph, and then again try and time when I believe we are near a bottom, which I think will happen probably 6 months after that. But it all depends how things unfold. All of these things are moving targets, of course, there's no guarantee. And initially, when I started this portfolio on eToro and joined this popular investor program, it was my intention to sell all of it and then rebuy back all of it near bear market bottom. But I just see that the positive risk of Bitcoin not having another a crash has increased. Now, that's a great thing. It's a positive thing. For that reason, I won't be selling more than, I think right now, more than 10-20%. And because if this thing goes to the moon in this cycle before 2024, I cannot be responsible for my copiers not owning at least 80-90% of their copy on me on something that goes to 20 million. So we can achieve financial independence. That's what this is about for me. So that is the difference. I trade this halving cycle, and that is the difference between owning Bitcoin and owning a portfolio that will be going between 100 to maybe down to 90-80% Bitcoin exposure. And again, it's a moving target. All right, what else we got here? Anjo, welcome aboard. Thanks to see you here. Marcus Potter, what do we have? The Price of Tomorrow, absolutely. Yeah, that's the book I read. And Sasa, I don't even know if you came originally from either eToro or if you came from Bitcoin Twitter, where me and my buddy Poppy obviously also mentioned that we're doing a Toxic Happy Hour shows. But thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Super happy to have you around in the chat. And I will say that the chat we have on our YouTube show for Toxic Happy Hour is the best chat in the Bitcoin space. I won't claim we have the best host, but I claim we have some of the absolute best guests, if not the best guest, in the best atmosphere. But we have, and also the best chat, and you are part of that. Thank you very much for contributing. We consider the chat an extremely important part of our show, which really is more about entering the pop. So that's why the name Toxic Happy Hour. It started 2 years ago, me and Poppy talking Bitcoin on the phone every single week. We had conversations that went an hour, 2 hours, just talking about Bitcoin, and we helped each other in to our conviction through the tough bear market of 18 and 18. There was 19, and we just enjoyed that. And then half a year ago, 4 months ago, we decided, why don't we put it on YouTube, because maybe others will enjoy these conversations, and it seemed it has. And we had amazing guests. Some of the best guests, biggest names in Bitcoin, come to our show. It is a very informal atmosphere. We just focus on having fun. Me and Poppy especially make fun of each other. We don't censor the chat, so we do take, whenever the chat makes fun of me, I put it on the screen. Whenever the chat makes fun of Poppy, I put it on the screen. Whenever the chat makes fun of our guests, I put it on the screen. When they make fun of each other, we also put it on the screen. So we are very much more of a party, like it's you enter the pop, and we have a good time informally instead of being very formal. We don't have an agenda. Often we come without preparation. Well, that's for my sake. Poppy is very prepared, reads all the books, and listens to the podcast of our guest. Is doing a great job. So, a great question here from Michael Friedman. Do I invest in stock market or only Bitcoin? So I have some people where I'm responsible for their portfolio, some family members. For them, I do have an exposure to stock that used to be 50%, but because Bitcoin has shot up, in value, that exposure has declined to 15-20%. And I'm not planning to rebalance that in the middle of a bull run, because I expect Bitcoin, as we spoke about earlier, to go to 300,000 at least within 14 months. Could happen in 6 months. We'll see. Who knows? And therefore, because I feel a responsibility for them and their savings, I need to have some stocks as well. But basically, I'm not bullish on stocks. Stocks will go up in terms of fiat currency because they keep diluting it. But in terms of real value, I don't see the stock market going up. And when Bitcoin takes over as money of the world, the interest rate will drop from, it will rise from the currently, strongly artificial 0% interest rate. That is decided by a committee, like you would decide things in a communist country. What should the price of money be? Interest rate is the price of money. And that's how they did it in the old USSR. The price of goods and services decided by a committee. That did not give good capital allocation. Current interest rate of 0% from a central bank level will not be able to be sustained on Bitcoin, because no one will be willing to lend out their Bitcoin for 0% interest rate. So what happens is, when the interest rate goes to whatever the free market level be it 5%, 8%, 12%, I don't have an idea. We haven't had a free market interest rate for more than 100 years in USA. But when the interest rate goes up, and that is for sure, there can't be any doubt about that, in my opinion, then the price of assets will drop. It's the same as houses. When mortgage rate goes down, the prices of houses go up. If the price of mortgages go up, the price of houses go down. It's the same for stocks. So when we move from artificially 0% interest rate to whatever the free market interest rate is, which is definitely significantly higher than 0%, then we will see assets like stocks crash. It's not going to happen this year. It's not going to happen until Bitcoin pushes out a dirty fiat currency, dollar, euro, etc., out. And once they're out, we can't have this interest rate of 0% anymore. And then that's the time I'll see stocks crash. I mean, they're already crashing in terms of Bitcoin. If you measure a stock of Amazon in Bitcoin, year for year, pretty much it's dropped in terms of how much Bitcoin do you have to pay for one. So no, I only hold Bitcoin. It used to be called, a year ago, people were calling it, I'm irresponsible long Bitcoin. But honestly, right now, it's moved into being responsibly long, means massively exposed to Bitcoin as opposed to other assets. All right, next question. Carlos, how is Bitcoin limited in supply and the other coins aren't? So Ethereum doesn't have a built-in monetary policy. They will keep printing Ethereum forever, for all we know. It can be changed also. Bitcoin's monetary policy cannot be changed. So take them one by one. Ethereum, Litecoin, Ripple, vaporware, in my opinion. There's nothing there of value. I don't respect those scammy projects, which they are, in my opinion, 2 seconds. Wouldn't you think the creators could be printing more Bitcoin? No, you can't print more Bitcoin, and Satoshi Nakamoto is not around anymore. So the way it works with Bitcoin is it's basically a protocol, a program running on more than 10,000 nodes on the network, and you can't change that without because if 10 nodes start say we want to create inflation, they will be rejected by the rest of the network. So you would need to convince everyone to destroy their own Bitcoin holdings by changing the protocol into an inflationary protocol. It's never going to happen. It cannot happen. Like in practice, again, it's in my opinion, but that's what all the smart people say, and I couldn't agree more. Absolutely recommend it. Read the white paper of BTC. All right. MG Smith 4, another regular on Toxic Happy Hour. Good to see you here, buddy. I know this may not be as fun as Toxic Happy Hour. I'm just having my coffee here, but I'm trying to share my understanding of Bitcoin with especially a lot of people on eToro, where I get a lot of questions from people on a daily basis. Yep, the scarf has become my signature now. Absolutely. It was a gift I got from a very, very dear friend of mine. I consider him a brother, and I love it. Anyways, all right. Can I borrow interest-free money to invest? And is it a wise idea, but am I capable to repay? But is it worth to take that risk? What would you suggest? Look, taking on debt to buy Bitcoin is what a lot of people would call risky. Personally, I think it's a great idea, but it's very risky. I won't say it's very risky because I wouldn't do it if I considered it risky. But what if something happened? I don't think anything can happen, but what if? Then how are you going to pay back your debt? But how will you get a 0% loan? If you can get a 0% loan, I mean, I would do it, but I cannot advise anyone to take debt to buy Bitcoin. It's not input you can give to anyone, but personally, yeah, I'd do it. All right, what else we got here? Saya Sasa, lol, I'm in the meme chat in Twitter with you. You know me as a ooh. All right, I wonder who you. Damn. All right, don't know who you are. Yep, Upsec Success is committed. I would throw Perro out there, but I could be wrong. What else we got? Marcus Potter, Anders, MPO 0614 again. When do you expect me to buy that beer? So, I was talking with Poppy about that today. I told him, look, so many people say they want to have a beer with us or drink a beer, have a steak. So, I suggested to him, I bought the domain name toxichappyhour.com. It leads directly to my YouTube channel where we host our Toxic Happy Hour shows, which is it's the main content there where we have all these great guests and amazing chat on our shows, which is just honestly, we're more like a Bitcoin talk show, entertainment, and then we throw in the education as well as best as we can. So probably right now, COVID is, a little bit in the way of this. But as I was talking with Pubby about, I told him, look, we should totally use that URL. Throw up eventually a website, Pero, you know who I'm talking about, who can help us out. You suggested it, and we should have. We'll. I want to arrange some like pub crawls, some steak dinners, maybe a mix of those, where people can participate. We'll get some event company to hook it up, so we don't have to worry about all the logistics, but can enjoy a great evening with people. But what I will say is, if you want to buy me a beer, first of all, thank you very much. I'd love that. I like beer. What can I say? As much as the next guy. I'm going to Bitcoin Magazine conference called Bitcoin 2021 in Los Angeles, which is April 30th and May 1st. And I got a code for that. So if you're paying with dollars, dirty fiat as we call it, you get a 21% discount. I don't make anything from it. I believe I have it in the show notes down below on YouTube, and that will that code is Toxic21, and it gives you 21% discount on that ticket. I don't know if they still have them available, the tickets, but come to that conference. I'll definitely have a beer with you, mate. Scared money make no money. Amen. All right. There's no more questions, so let me just throw back up this price graph that is produced by a Plan B, who's on Twitter with at 100 trillion USD. Jose Spam, yes, you are late because we're getting near the end. There's hardly any questions, but there's no questions left. But if you have questions, shoot. I'll keep going. But looking again at this graph that shows the dark blue line, how the price of Bitcoin developed after the first halving, and the light blue, the price, how it developed after the second halving, which happened summer of 16, and then the red line, which is how the price is developing after the third halving that we have. A halving is where the mining reward, which means the fresh supply, is cut in half. Initially, back in the days when Bitcoin launched, the miner who found the next block, which happened on average every 10 minutes, was rewarded with 50 Bitcoin. And then after that, after 4 years approximately, a miner would be rewarded with 25 Bitcoin every 10 minutes. Then it became 12 and a half. And now the fresh supply of Bitcoin is 6.25. And that will be the case until approximately April 24, where once again, the fresh supply will be cut in half. It will become 3 point something and 3.125, I guess. And like every single time before, what happens is that creates a lack of supply, which pushes the price higher. And so my expectation is if we stay between the light blue and the dark blue line, which we probably will, maybe more towards the light blue line, but it really depends how things develop, how fast companies realize that the assets on the treasuries are killed when kept in dollar. So more and more are converting all of their assets on the treasury into Bitcoin, which is something we've never seen before. And that's why this cycle might be different. It might go steeper. So anyways, if we are staying between these two, that means we're hitting $100,000 per Bitcoin between April and September, which gives us a nice 3x from where we are currently, even I think a little bit more. And I believe something like that. Timing may be a little bit off. Maybe it'll be October, who knows? But I definitely think we hit 100,000 this year. I also think we'll go way above, and I still expect 300,000 latest Q1 next year. Oh my God, we have Greggy in the chat. 1 Bitcoin equals financial independence after 5 years max. I absolutely agree. Welcome to the show, Greggy. Greggy is one of the solids on Toxic Happy Hour. He's even been a co-host several times. I would say co-host backup as well for Poppy. One of the great memers. Go check out, search for Greg Sash on Twitter, and you'll find great memes. And great entertainment on a daily basis. Isn't that right? Although, Greggy, I think here once again you're a little bit bearish, because if Bitcoin hits $20 million, which I think there's very sound arguments for, then I think yes, it will equal financial independence. It will equal a lot of financial independence. I would even say that 0.1 Bitcoin, which today is $3,300, will be worth 2 million in the future. And 2 million, unless you live in a crazy expensive city like LA, San Francisco, New York, Tokyo, or somewhere else, then $2 million, which is 0.1 Bitcoin, in my opinion, will be enough for financial independence. You can live like a king as long as you live outside. And Greggy, no, Marcus has not found the red balloon. I apologize. This is not the normal entertaining toxic happy hour. This is just a straight up Bitcoin ask me anything kind of thing here. So do I recommend Forex trading? Personally, I would never. So Forex trading means you're trading one fiat currency towards another, and I don't want to hold any fiat currency at any stage anyway. So no, I wouldn't do it. But again, I don't give financial advice, but personally, I would never hold more dirty fiat diluting currency than I need to pay maybe this month's rent and some of the bills. But I really minimize it, and honestly, so far that has worked great. I want to maximize pretty much all my decisions come down to how can I maximize the Bitcoin that I have, and for that reason, I haven't owned a car since, I don't know, 6 years or something. I have access to borrow a car when I need it. Just bought a bike. Yeah, I've lived very frugal because I have a long-term time preference. I'd rather be financial independent ASAP than having some goods that society is kind of like give us this whole consumption mentality, and you got to rake up debt so you can have a good credit rating. And no, not for me. Absolutely not for me. All right. Steiner Jonsson, how much dollars should I invest in Bitcoin for long term to see decent profits? Again, it's a percentage game. If Bitcoin goes up 1,000% or 10x over the next 1.5 years, depends for you what decent profits are. If you want to make $1,000, you need to buy $100 worth of Bitcoin. If you want to make 100,000, you'd need to buy, I don't know, $10,000-$11,000 worth of Bitcoin. No guarantee. Past results are not guarantee for future results, but that's my opinion. And honestly, so far I have been right on even conservatively. I've managed to give what to a lot of people sounded like very optimistic expectations that yet managed to be conservative and be overshot. So that's what I'm looking for. Goody T. Hi, Anders. So assuming I have one Bitcoin, how long are we looking for that financial independence? Well, I doubt that you will have less than $20 million worth of buying power. I don't think it'll take much longer than 2027, and it could happen earlier. It could happen in 24. I don't think it'll take longer than 27 for you to have financial independence. Honestly, being exposed to Bitcoin, us having the opportunity to buy Bitcoin and watch one sound money take over from another is an absolute gift, and something that I'm very grateful to be able to watch this. So the last time one good sound money took over from another was when gold was entered in circulation as coin, as money in a kingdom in Western Turkey that was called Lydia. That was the king there was the first king ever, or ruler, to circulate actual gold coins as money. And that was before the Roman Empire. And now you and I, the people here watching, have the chance to purchase something that's going to be the future money of the world, in my opinion. And you're even, like, some people are scared that maybe it will drop. No, look at what money is. Look at the properties of Bitcoin, and you'll understand that Bitcoin is the best money the world has ever seen. And stopping Bitcoin from taking over as money of the world is like fighting the gravity of a black hole. You just can't succeed. This will happen. It's, in my opinion, of course, I can't give 100% guarantee. I have no doubt. I put all my money, into this because I think everything else is falling in terms of Bitcoin. So, yeah. All right, what else we got? Greggy, absolutely. Bitcoin is the best savings technology ever invented. I couldn't agree more. And that's when Bitcoin has taken over as money of the world. What we have now is even a chance to buy something that's going to be the future money of the world, which means, not only 6-7 years from now will it be the best place to store your value and your savings that's not going to be diluted by governments or central banks. We have a chance to be early, so you get that entire rise. And if you think you're not early, just remember that the potential of Bitcoin, well, that's my opinion, is about 500-600x from here. If you're not happy with an investment that's going to go up more than 100x, you're ungrateful. Amen. That's right. I'm guessing Pero. All right, what else we got here? It's inflating. What's inflating? Bitcoin is not inflating. I mean, yeah, there's inflation, but it's 100% capped at 21 million units. All right. That's a great question. I don't know if you sincerely mean it, Greg, but mortgages will be more expensive. I think you know this, but in my opinion, look, when we don't have an artificially 0% interest rate from a central bank, the interest rate, is going to be significant higher, which also means that borrowing money for a house is going to be significant higher, which means that the price of houses will be way significant lower. These assets will, together with stocks, will crash when we have true sound money, 100% hard cap at 21 million. But rent is a different thing. So rent, what we pay to live in those houses probably will be same as now. The same kind of, people have different levels of their income that they're willing to spend on housing, be it 20%, 30%, 40%. It differentiates from person to person. And I don't see that being different, but the price of houses, in my opinion, will be much lower because what we have to pay to borrow, $100,000 today, which would be, whatever Bitcoin in the future, would be. But yeah, you're right, Greg. Actually, it's rent, mortgage, you can say it's the same because what you can pay monthly is the same, but that loan you can take on with what, let's say today is equivalent to $1,500 of monthly expenditure on housing. That will be much less in the future. So you're paying the same monthly. The rent, mortgage, I believe, will be the same, but the actual loan you can take on will be much smaller because the interest rate is higher, and this is what will crash the housing prices. Jody. Toxic hour is entertaining, so this is not really toxic happy hour, being very super serious here, but you know that sorry Jose, but Plan Marcus is the original finder of the red balloon, and only his red balloon gets to go on the screen. All right, Greg Sarge, would New York and San Francisco become more reasonably priced when their land's store value function is drained by Bitcoin? So I would say, yeah, the price for a house, I think, will be a lot more affordable, but what you pay monthly will be similar. We can take this offline as well, but I basically think that, if you have a great salary for some reason in San Francisco, you have a job in a tech company, and if you can afford, let's say, $5,000 a month in rent, that's not going to change. So the monthly expenditure will be the same, but the price of the asset, because the interest rate goes up, the price of the asset goes down. Just like we know it already that when the mortgage interest rate goes down, that pushes prices higher. Thank you very much. We try. The chat is making the toxic happy hour entertaining for me and Puppy, to be honest, and our guest. We have a lot of fun. Big dates coming up: BlackRock, 31st of January, then Saylor, 6th of February. Yeah, so first week of February, I believe it is, Michael Saylor, which pioneered corporate storing of value in Bitcoin. He initially converted the $425 million he had on his balance sheet, which was meant to be, basically accessible, liquid value in the future for his company, MicroStrategy, that he is a CEO of and that he founded, I think about 30 years ago. He converted all of that into Bitcoin. Later, he has taken on corporate bond debt, which is convertible notes, where lenders can convert those into stock, which means for them, it is a way to get exposure to Bitcoin in situations where these entities that are investing in the corporate convertible bonds only are allowed to buy bonds. They can't buy Bitcoin directly. So for them, it's a way to indirectly buy Bitcoin, which is great for them. It's great for Michael Saylor. He got to borrow money for 75 basis points, which is 0.75%, 650 million, and all of that fiat debt, 650 million. He bought Bitcoin dollar for dollar, all of it. And that's already up like 50% or something. This happened, I believe, early December. So, and that's literally an attack on the dollar, and we will see more and more attacks on the dollar. Anyone taking on fiat debt to buy Bitcoin is basically attacking an evil currency, in my opinion. See you later, Anjo. You're probably already gone. Absolutely, fiat money is dropping. All right, so we have Chris here. Hi, Anders, can I acquire Bitcoin from eToro and stack it in a cold wallet, or do I need to purchase BTC from broker? It's a little bit more cumbersome than maybe on other exchanges, but if you already have your account there, by all means, it's probably easiest just to do it. So what you need to do is, you buy the Bitcoin. That can't be on copy. You have to buy it directly. Then you need to use the eToro wallet to transfer it from eToro to your wallet, and then from your eToro wallet, you can send it to your cold storage. I mean, you can send it back, but I mean, you don't need to. Bitcoin will take over as money of the world, in my opinion. Absolutely. There's also, you can buy through Swan Bitcoin, which is an on-ramp only. You can't sell it for dollars. You can only go one way. They exist only in US. I'm an advisor there. I think it's a great product, a great company. And I have a link down below. I believe you get $10. I know it doesn't impress anyone here, but using that link, it goes to Swan Bitcoin. There's even a free book from the CTO, Chief Technology Officer, Jan Pritzker, who's just an amazing developer, most valuable player on the team, amazing guy who's created a phenomenal backend and functionality on Swan Bitcoin. I am a client as well there myself, signed up for daily purchases of Bitcoin. So you don't have to think about if the price is dropping or not dropping. You just every single day automatically, I buy for a set amount of dollars. I buy more Bitcoin. It is accumulated there. If I want, I can withdraw it, which I probably will at some stage. But honestly, I don't mind having split some of my Bitcoin out on other places than cold storage. Because if anything happens to cold storage, then you have split the risk a little bit. Also, I recommend don't ever have access to your cold storage from where you live. It just makes you a target. I mean, you could be a target anyway, and that's why you got to arm yourself so you can protect yourself. Right. Got it. Greggy, so kind of you. Thank you. Yeah, I just mentioned it, but down below there is a link to Swan. Thanks, Greggy. I appreciate it. I will buy you a beer, and you know that. I'll buy you steak as well, even though you're going to lose the bet. I actually, the last couple of days, become convinced that we will see the blow off top and the bear market. But hey, man, thanks for hanging out. Again, go to Greggy. and go to search for Greg Sage1 on Twitter. Follow him. He does amazing, hilarious memes. Slightly twisted. Greg is a little bit, mentally, I'm kidding, challenged, but no, that's really entertaining memes. Great. Like, let's call him. And no, this is being recorded, so I can't call him a meme lord, because then he would hold me up on that and claim that I gave him credit, and we can't have that. We got to be able to have our banter and make fun of each other. All right, so from Goody T, assuming one BTC is 30,000, which approximately is the case right now, then I wait roughly 5 years, financial independence, 100x. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it's 500x, but 100x is more on the safe side. You should be able to put yourself in a situation where $3 million gives you financial independence. If it doesn't, you got to work on your expenses. If $3 million is not enough to live for the rest of your life, everything is absolutely hypothetical. And Greggy here, I very much agree. One Bitcoin, will be $1 to $5 million of purchasing power. Today's dollars, before they're being hyper diluted, which they're doing right now, as they're handing out money from government. All right. On that, hey, Greggy, listen, Greggy, do you want to come on and say hi to people and tell us a little bit about your memes? So I'm gonna send Greggy. I don't know if you're still there, but you just did a wrote in the chat. I don't know if you have time. Maybe you're with family or something. But let me just on Twitter send you an invitation to the stream here. He may not have time. Maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe you're busy with family. Work should be done for you. But hey, Greggy, if you have time, log on. Right. So I figured, look, there's nothing better than family, and Greg Sage is being a good dad there. Hey, but thanks for hanging out, Greg. Thanks for all of you for hanging out, asking questions, and helping each other in the chat. I see people asking questions and answering and helping each other. To the regulars from Toxic Happy Hour, I'm sorry this may not have been as entertaining as Toxic Happy Hour. But we gotta bring straight Q&A and Bitcoin knowledge, at least from how I see it. I don't claim to know everything, but I've spent thousands of hours researching. But anyway, so thank you everyone for listening and tuning in. If you want to see Toxic Happy Hour, feel free to keep an eye on the channel. And thanks for participating. On that note, I will say be careful of storing more value in fiat currency that you can afford to lose. Fiat currency being dollar, euro, rubles, yuan, whatever, because fiat currency has a built-in policy of taking away the value of your savings. It is an official policy, and they have convinced you that it's good for you, that they steal the value of your savings. They have convinced you that the only way you'll keep your job is by them stealing the value of your savings. So they print more and they stimulate. But guess what? When we were in sound money, which was gold, US had the best productivity growth in its history when we were on sound money, and not this terrible, in my opinion, evil central bank dirty fiat money that we have right now. So that was back in 1873 to 1892, where the productivity factor for Bitcoin went up by of Bitcoin. We didn't have Bitcoin, but productivity growth of US went up almost by a factor of 3 in just 20 years. We were on sound money. Sound money is great. Once again, we will have sound money because there's nothing they can do to stop Bitcoin. So Jody, when is the next show? Oh, by the way, we have 6 ladies on Toxic Happy Hour on Friday. That's going to be 11 a.m. PST. That has just been scheduled and coordinated in the DM. So we are ready to go live with 6 Bitcoin ladies on Friday, 11 a.m. PST, which is 2 Eastern time. And work it out for yourself in whatever time that is for you in your timing zone if you're interested. That is bound to be a great and entertaining show. And personally, I will unbottle or open up my delicious Belvedere vodka and have a good time. So scarves are always entertaining. Why not? Michael, thanks for your time. You're most welcome. I just enjoy this. Thank you very much. Jody, right. No, these are plebes, right. So there we go. On that note, guys, have a great evening. Well, guys and girls, have a great evening. I'll do more of these, probably once a week, twice a week, where we just talk Bitcoin. Anyone from eToro, anyone are welcome, obviously, but especially eToro, I do get a lot of questions. And toxic happy hours, we do that at least once a week on Friday. It's gonna be fun. Join if you don't have thick skin, if you can take the humor, if you can take all the joking and giving each other a hard time and making fun of each other. That's toxic happy hour for you. On that note, see you on the next one, 11 a.m. PST on Friday for the toxic ladies happy hour. Bye for now.